numbers do we want to see, do go over, have questions about? Seeing a lot of 1s and 3s and more 4s than 2s. So we'll do 1, 4, and 3. So for 1 and 3, we can do that on Desmos, and then 4, we can figure that out. So for number 1, if I were to graph those 2 points, you can put them in the same line, but then if you label them, they won't be the same. They'll be the same. So if I'm looking at the slope of this, these fall on some vertical line. Vertical lines have undefined slopes, so that would be our slope. If you did it algebraically, you would have gotten some number, 5 or negative 5 over 0, and we can't divide by 0, so that would be undefined. Questions on that one? For number 3, if I were to type all of these in as a table, 2 and 12. You could have also done this algebraically, but I'll show you the graph and you'll be able to see it. So it starts to look like our hyperbola, the curved shape, but the issue is these two are negative and these two are positive. So if you had multiplied, you'd get positive 24, negative 24, negative 24, positive 24. If they had all been positive or all been negative, it would have been inverse, but because that's not the case, this is neither. Because we can't divide and get the same thing here. Questions on either of those? And then for number 4, the equation of this line, because it is a vertical line, you don't have to write this here, you can if you want. Because it's a vertical line, it's going to be an x equals, I'm looking at where does that cross the x-axis at -3, and that would be the equation of that line. You could also graph this into Desmos to make sure it looks the same. Okay. Make sure your name is on your SharkBite answer sheet and go ahead and pass those up. This was overlapping region. And then we'll just go through any questions you guys have, want to see, want to do, want to go over from this page on. So look at this page, find any you want to see, do, go over, have questions about, or the next page or the next couple of pages. others on this date or the following date is 3 on the same date. Unique one. Okay, so let's start with 3 and then we'll do 4. For number 3, we have to solve both of these. Remember that with your systems, I would suggest using 2 different colors or two different writing utensils. We're going to solve both of these. I'm going to do that simultaneously. Subtract x from the first one and subtract 2x from the second one. And then we have to divide this one, the first one by -4 and the second one by -1. The sign is going to change for both of them. And we should get y is greater than or equal to 1/4 is what that should say. X minus 6 and y is less than or equal to 2x plus 1. Go ahead and graph these. The order doesn't matter how you do that. Would these lines be dashed or solid? Solid. For the first inequality, or my blue line, would that be shaded above or below? Greater than or equal to, would that be shaded above or below? Which one? So that would be everything here. And then for the other one, if we're starting at 1, slope is positive 2x. We said that one was also solid. Is that one going to be shaded above or below? Below. So below would be down here, so that would be everything here. So that overlapping would be all of this. Question? questions on that one? For number 4, this inequality is your Hoy-Bucks. So it's going to be a vertical line because it's an x equals. So on your x-axis, at -4, go ahead and put a point at -4, and would that line be dashed or solid? Draw a vertical dashed line. And if we're shading, we're looking at would the numbers to the left be less than or would the numbers to the right be less than? The left. So shade to the left. And then for the other one, we'd have to solve it. Subtract 3x. And divide everything by 2. So y is less than or equal to -3 over 2x minus 1. Like the ones we just did, that one's going to be solid. And is this one going to be shaded above or below?
Below.
So that would be everything underneath, so everything over here. And the part that they overlap would really just be everything. So most of what was shaded for the X, and then a little bit of the other part. Other questions on the following pages? You say that this one, just skip that because we're not doing applications with systems of inequalities, so just don't worry about. 8 on the last page. This one, yeah. So one of these is already solved, the other one you have to solve. Go ahead and solve that, subtract 3x. And divide everything by 4. Graph both. Some of the lines are like faded, so be careful there. Both of these lines are going to be dashed or solid.
Dash.
Dash. do have arrows at the end. This one's going to be shaded above this line. And then the other one starts at -1, slope of +2. Also dashed. You can put little tick marks or just leave it dotted. This is also going to be shaded above. So the overlapping region is just this small little triangle right here. So if we were looking at which of these ordered pairs is the solution set, I could graph these points. 3, -5 would not be it. 6, 0 falls in one of them, but not in both. -8, -1 falls in one of them, but not the other, so it has to be D. -2, 6. So then, for not the rest of class, because you need to turn this in, you guys are going to be working on the following. Everyone is going to get a sheet of paper and needs to turn this in. It's two-sided. On one side, there are 3 columns. One is info about the graph. You have little things here. You're going to cut and paste one of them. The things that say slope, y-intercept, the type of line, and what direction it's shaded. That goes in info about the graph. The write the inequality, there are 4 inequalities here that you're going to put in that box, in those boxes. And then there's a column for writing 3 points that are in the solution. You would find 3 points that would fall in the shaded area and write those 3 points. Then on the back, you're going to graph the inequalities that are given, find the info about the graph from the 8 little squares, and then also write 3 points that are that would fall in the solution. Questions on the directions? Okay, you guys can work together on this, but everyone needs to turn one in before class ends. Also, when you finish this, you're going to grab a review. So after you finish, you could be working on the review as your quiz is next class, or Delta Math, or your SOL packet. When you get one, you may start. There are scissors and glue in the back. You can also use tape. It's on your grade. Desmos or your calculator to check yourself, but remember that this and the system is no calculator on the quiz and on the test. There's not many glue sticks, so you'll have to share, but you guys can also use tape or staple them.